really thinking about this one in particular, school safety, I think many times for us, and we were talking about this briefly, Nick, it feels like we don't want young people to be thinking about or worrying about these types of issues, but really they do such an amazing job with it because it's real to them, especially with the school safety issues, and they come up with these wonderful ideas to really be proactive in these situations versus reactive.
This is such a tough topic because, again, for so many students, including myself, school is sanctuary. So it's a safe place, and you don't want to bring any harmful thoughts or environment, but something like this, to me as an educator, is so useful, and it doesn't have an emotional or visible impact on teaching or even the environment of the school.
And I think along those lines, and from the team that we'll see next, and you think about, you're right, and I always thought of school as our sanctuary, as a very safe place. I think there's like a school bus being set up behind me here. And so similarly, when you think about taking the bus in the morning, that would also be a safe place for young people, nothing that they needed to be worried about. So yeah. You don't have to rush, it's okay. Take your time.
I would say the crossing guard at the school is the most powerful person in the world for about an hour every day.
Yeah, the crossing guard in my community, even to this day, nobody messes with her. Like, you're in trouble if you do something wrong.
Well, again, it takes an entire school to raise a child. I would like to think I'm one of the most beloved people in my school, but I know our lunch lady is much more beloved than I am.
Yeah. Well, actually, one of the things that we think about when we're privileged to meet all these young people is how they're going to take their ideas forward. And I will mention we do have one team that also did a school bus project. I'm not going to say his name. It's up to the teachers here to find who he is. But he did a school bus project last year. And I know when I say he, I mean his students did a school bus project last year. And I'll let you try to find him. Are you ready?
Who's ready?
But, and just kind of to elaborate what you were saying too, as educators, we have such a great relationship with our students and they inspire us every single day. And as far as these inventions and these projects, I can't imagine thinking of these things. So it just shows that the freedom that they give their students to kind of give them limitless options. You guys ready to rock?
All right.
Good morning. My name is Rihanna Robertson, and this is Evan in Boston. Today we are going to talk to you about how our Samson Safe school bus stop sign has impacted our community and how the use of STEM. We are 6th graders from Holly Grove Middle School in Holly Springs, North Carolina.
Hi, I'm Boston. I'm going to tell you about our Samsung Safe school bus stop sign and how it impacted our community. We brought together our local law enforcement, the NCDOT, our school's transportation, and our town council. Think of the last time you were driving and you were distracted, or when you saw someone else driving distracted. Drivers are on their phones and students are unaware of their surroundings because they are listening to music or playing on their phones. We took a parent survey and we determined that the number one issue with school bus stop safety was that drivers did not know where the school bus will stop. This means that there are more stop-arm violations every day. And that means in North Carolina there are 3,000 stop-arm violations every day and 80,000 per day in all of America. This adds up to 15 million stop-arm violations every school year nationwide. We want to increase awareness of school bus stops, decrease stop-arm violations, and save lives through our Samsung Safe school bus stop sign. We are determined to make technology part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Our sign utilizes an app we designed which uses GPS to determine the coordinates of the bus. We also use 2 XBs, which are wireless transmitters. One broadcasts the route and coordinates of the bus, and the other waits for that data so we can hand it off to an Arduino, which is a small computer, which takes those coordinates and uses the Pythagorean theorem to determine how far the bus is from the sign. If the bus is within 400 feet, the lights will flash yellow like this. When the bus is within 200 feet, the lights will strobe yellow like this. And when the bus gets within 30 feet or stopped, the lights will glow red with a white strobe, as you can see here. Then when the bus moves away, the lights will turn off. And if the route is changed, so if the route on the bus is not supposed to stop where the sign is located, the lights will not activate.
And finally, our project is sustainable. One of the ways our project is sustainable is that we use a recycled sign that we got from Public Works Department in Holly Springs. Another way our sign is sustainable is that we use LED energy efficiency that are on top of the sign, which batteries are powered by the solar panel on the very top of our sign. Our sign is also portable and can be moved from one location to another depending on the change in this heat sheet. Another benefit to our app is that it will be mounted on top of the dashboard so that bus drivers, especially substitute bus drivers, will be able to glance over and tell where the school bus stop sign is located and how far it is. We hope to decrease the number of fatalities and accidents that happen each year and make sure no child's face does not end up on this fatality sheet.
Thank you. Who's going first with questions?
I'll dive right in. What was this is a recycled question, but it's one I really want to know from everyone. Is what was your biggest challenge, and how did you get through it in the development of this?
I think our biggest challenge was probably getting the sign to where it is right now. We had lots of trouble with the wiring and everything, and like sometimes the wiring would break or it would go up in the wrong position and like starting our sign. I think that was our biggest challenge, but we were able to hot glue and tape all the wires and everything where they belong and so they don't move while they were coming over here.
Hot glue and tape.
Also, the code was pretty difficult to get this to go at the right time.
It's awesome job, guys, really. So I'm curious, the light on top of the sign, I'm sure you had a couple versions where it was really bright and it would blind people, or not too bright and you couldn't tell. And I'd love to hear, how did you guys come up with 400 and 230 feet and the coloring of the light? Was it just like you tried the first thing and it seemed best, or did you do experiments?
Well, a bus driver has to eyeball 300 feet away from every bus stop that they have to go to. So we did 400 feet so that they would have enough time to know where the stop's location was and how drivers would know how far they are and everything. And the way we got 200 feet, which is why the bus is almost there, so the drivers have to slow down, that the bus is almost there. And then red means stop, as everybody knows.
Thank you all for this as well, and thank you for putting the pictures at the end of your presentation and making it really real for people, because sometimes we have to remember there is people behind technology, so thank you for the reminder. How many bus stops are in your explicit community? You talked a little bit about sustainability, so just interested on how many of these devices would you have to create across your bus stops currently?
Well, it depends on this heat sheet. The heat sheet will show where the most where the most stop or violations are, which the bus driver themselves will tally up, and then at the end of the year, each bus driver will give how many stop or violations or accidents happened that they saw, and then the number will be rounded up, and then determine on what color the spot is, which will, when it's the most red, that's where we would put our signs. And say the stop changes and it becomes green, so that there's not many, but there still are some. We would, it would be portable, so we would move it to the one that's really red that doesn't already have one.
So building the Arduino board and programming the geolocation sounds really tough. Did you guys know how to do this ahead of time? Did you partner with people? How'd you get this done?
Well, so the Arduino, a lot of the code is on there, so my dad helped me to learn how to code it, and so there was a lot of code involved between us to get this going.
What he's trying to say is that the Arduino takes 400 lines to code, and he did 90% of that, and he had to learn the coding so that he could code the Arduino. But with the app coding, you have to learn a whole different language, and that takes a lot of time. It took his dad 6 months just to learn the basics. So we couldn't do that in time, so Evan's dad definitely helped us with that.
Well, the 6 months is technically how long it takes for my dad to teach a new person at his work, like an adult, to learn the code. So.
Any more questions, you guys?
Oh, we're not done.
Now they're more fascinating.
You're doing a great job. We have 2 more minutes of questions for you.
Great presentation. Just a quick question. You mentioned raising awareness. How did you guys go about spreading, your project and your concept throughout your community?
So we talked with a bunch of people in our community, and at one point we had every single person from our school transportation, our DOT, and our law enforcement all in the same room and agreeing on something. And then after that, it kicked off. And then we got put on the news a bunch, and then everybody really liked our idea, so we kept going.
This is such an impressive presentation and project. Have you guys tested it out on any school buses yet?
Yes, we tested our prototype. We took down a normal sign with a police officer's permission, and then we replaced it with our sign for the day, and then we had a school bus drive and see if it actually worked.
Charles opened up, wherever Charles is, talking about materials, and sometimes you don't have the tool that you need when you're in the middle of a project. Was there something that you really wish you would have had access to, technologically, supply-wise? I heard glue and duct tape. That's how my house is built. Is there anything you wish you would have had along the way that you'd like to put out into the world?
Well, we would like stronger lights because right now these ones are pretty dim, but they still work. We would hope to have brighter lights, bigger, and then we would hope to not make our thing made out of just wood and cardboard.
So I have one question. I hope it's a quick one. Because we have a few seconds left. But when you were doing your research, did you talk to anyone who's ever got a ticket for a stop armor violation?
No.
Because I look at it and I'm like, oh, look at all that red on the map. Those are terrible, terrible people. But I was wondering what makes somebody run past that stop sign. So what do you think? Why do you think people? Do you think they're just bad people, or something? There's a reason why they.
Well, probably because they don't notice it, and I doubt anybody's really gotten a ticket, at least not in our area, because in our either county or state, I think it's in our state alone, there are 3,000 per day. So I don't think they could give out 3,000 tickets a day. That would be a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree. That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you very much. You all did a great job. I was thinking that, Nick, there's been quite a few times when I'm driving to work and I've actually seen people just fly right past the school bus. And I think people are just in such a rush in the morning, they're just not thinking.
Well, I think it goes back to what he said at the beginning. Distracted driving is up, and I think the most vulnerable areas are around schools. And I don't think they're horrible people. I think they're not focusing on what they should be, like you said, in a rush,
Right.
and kind of trying to drive and multitask.
Right.
And I mean, something like this, and again, I'm sure this has been an issue, especially every school, I'm sure has issues with picking up, dropping off, and driving around. But we complain about the problems, they're solving.
Yeah.
And
I definitely think